Warning: SirRodCast can lead to an array of side effects. Symptoms like nausea, vomiting, explosive diarrhea, sudden distaste for previously loved foods, and an inexplicable headache might emerge, persistently nagging like a bad song stuck in your head. Prolonged SirRodCast exposure, you might find yourself breaking out with rashes, skin blisters or peels, or developing a sudden wheeze, all of which signal a red alert. In such cases, halt all consumption of SirRodCasts and seek immediate medical attention. SirRodCast is not for the faint of heart. Proceed with caution and always keep your healthcare provider on speed dial for any unexpected misadventures.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce you to one of the nation's most exciting entertainers. He is the former creative director for So Deaf Recordings. He has one of the best-selling artist development books, The 10 Commandments of the Stage. All the way from Atlanta, Georgia, put your hands together for the Star Maker, Mr. One Man Show, Ollie Patterson's baby boy. Give it up for Sir Rod Patterson.
Yes, it's about time. Yes, I'm back. Welcome to another episode of the SirRodCast. Oh, we got a treat for you today. Oh, my goodness. First, for those of you, your first time visiting the SirRodCast, SirRodCast is a podcast about nothing and everything at the same time. That's right. Nothing and everything at the same time. Now, listen. How the podcast works is we divide it into segments, kind of like a Tonight Show or David Letterman, but podcasting. So this segment we're getting ready to get into is what I call Nothing Else Better to Do. Because I got nothing else better to do right now than to share a story with you. And it's kind of amazing to me how God works, at least in my life. It's just amazing. I was in Walmart because I've been wrapping my head on who I want to speak to, exactly who my podcast is for. And because SirRod reaches a lot of different people, ethnic backgrounds, young, old, doctors, lawyers, rappers, you name it, painters, plumbers. I meet so many diverse people, so it's kind of like who this podcast is going to be targeting. So I was at Walmart, my second home. Looked like I'm there every day. And going to my car, and I saw a guy, they had a Hustlers in the Walmart parking lot. So I tried to avoid this guy. I saw him when I was going in, and then I tried to avoid him on the way, thought I might miss him by the time I came out. But sure enough, he said, "Hey, brother." And he had a CD in his hand. He asked me, did I want to help him out or give a donation with CD? And he looked like he was a pretty clean rapper. I found out later on he was a rapper. He asked me, did I want to purchase a CD? I said, brother, I got thousands of CDs. I got a lot. I got thousands of SirRod and the Blues Doctor CDs. And I told him, people will purchase our CDs at our live shows, but it's really for sentimental or keepsake, for us to sign it, just to have a piece of the show. But ultimately, I just wanted to find out, how do you make it? How you guys are making it now in the music hustler world with CDs. And so just like in SirRod fashion, the guy goes on to tell me it's basically his story. He's a Christian rapper by the name of One Chance. He's been in Atlanta about 14 years, and he's been doing his thing and trying to make it. And then, I decided to give him some words of encouragement. I told him that just hold on to the vision and just keep pushing forward. And I know sometimes it seemed like you're the only one that can see this vision, but you just got to push through. And sometimes you got to talk yourself into keep pushing through. And his face just lit up. And he says, thank you. I needed that. And then I went on to give him some more encouragement. But that look he gave me was the first part of the puzzle. Then I told him that a little bit of my story, that I have been pushing and trying, and hopefully it won't take him as long as it took me, but I've been working at this thing, I told him, for about 38 years. And I said that if Moses could do 40, I could do 40 as well. Evidently, God got that thing worked out where I have to do 40. And you should have saw the horror on his face. He looked like the thought of taking 40 years to make it was something that he couldn't handle. And then I encouraged him that, still don't give up. No matter if it takes 40 or 50 years, don't give up. A light bulb came on right then and there. And that made me start thinking. And also, it made me also realize what I think this podcast should be. What this podcast is for the dreamers. Yeah, the dreamers. If you got a dream, I don't care if it's a restaurant or to be an author or to songwriter, whatever your dream, your thing is. I think why it's taken me 40 years to get to where I am right now is because it was to be able to encourage the dreamers. You see, it's nothing that you can tell me that I haven't experienced already. I know about walking alone by yourself. And I know about seeming like you're the only one in the world to see this vision. And I know about nobody coming to support you. Or I know about being embarrassed. Or I know about wanting to sing. I wanted to sing so bad when I was younger. And I was screaming. I screamed so hard at a show, thinking that screaming would make me sound better. I screamed so hard till I was spitting blood. I know it's nothing you can bring about. I know about not having any money, about having someone say, hey, you think you might want to give that thing up because it just looked like it's not working. But for some reason, I just couldn't give up. And so that's what I think this podcast is for, the dreamers. That fits perfectly for all my demographics. See, I work with the young and I work with the seniors and all in between. So the SirRodCast is for the dreamers. Now, me and my friend was talking on the phone and he's getting some success. As a matter of fact, I'm playing around with maybe having him as one of my first guests on the Nothing Else Better to Do segment. His name is Eric Holloway. And Eric was, he kind of got his success. He's got this bass voice. His voice will shake your clothes. His voice so low. He's gotten 15, 20 million views on YouTube and TikTok. So he's doing his thing, but he got basically his thing didn't kick in until later in life. Kind of like me. I didn't really start singing until I was 50. And so me and him were really talking about it. And he said it happens when it was supposed to happen for him. And I guess it happened when it was supposed to happen for me, because I told him, I guess he's right, because I think God wouldn't have let young SirRod get to where he is right now. Young SirRod would have messed it up. Oh, you have no idea how bad I would have messed it up. So sometimes that dream, that thing you want, it may take a little while, but believe it will happen when it's supposed to happen. The hard part is just holding the dream, holding the vision. When everybody around you think you're crazy, you got to hold that vision. And if what you're doing is not working, then you're going to have to reset or reevaluate. You can't lose. There's no such thing as losing. There's only learning. So, for the dreamers, don't give up. Keep pushing. And that concludes the Nothing Else Better to Do segment of the program. This brings us to the next portion of the program, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the next portion of the program, and that is the good news. This is the good news section of the program, and I got a couple good news stories to report. First, it reported today that on CBS News. That's my source for this. And you can go in and look it up. But they reported that the shipping lane in Baltimore, Maryland, where the bridge collapsed, that they've been working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're going to send military in. They've been working hard just to open up that lane and to get the business and get things back flowing. And they're 80% open. So basically it's almost completely open. And those guys, they deserve a God bless you. I don't know how in the world. And it's such a tragedy. But at the same time, when people come together and work real hard, man can do just about anything when we work together. Yeah, when we work together. That's the first good news. And then the second good news is kind of personal to me. A lot of y'all don't know this, but I have a star child. I got a daughter she's an actress. She's been co-starring in a sitcom or a television show, television show on CBS by the name of Elizabeth. My daughter plays Kaya, the police officer that assists Elizabeth. And that's my baby girl, Cara Patterson. Well, the good news is they've been picked up for a second season. So to my daughter, Carrie Preston, Cara Patterson, Prentice, and all the other casting crew of Elizabeth, congratulations. Yeah, that's my baby girl. Yeah. Now, I don't really have any blues news to report today. Still waiting for you guys to send in some blues news reports because I got some blues news contributors out there, and I'm going to reach out to them and let them know that I'm going to be offering that segment to them to just send me the blues report. And for those of you who don't know, if you want to correspond with me or reach out or you got any show suggestions, SirRodCast@gmail.com, SirRodCast@gmail.com. Send all your requests or just let me know your story and also any blues news that you will want to share. That's what would be the blues news section of the program. All right, let's keep it moving. The next section of the program is... Yeah, this brings us up to the next section of the program, Numbers Talk. Yeah, Numbers Talk. Now, for those who are new to the program, Numbers Talk is kind of like the zodiac of the program. Like if you're in the newspaper, y'all young folk out there don't know about newspaper, but they used to have the zodiac signs and stuff, all that, your horoscope and all that in the back of the newspaper. Well, this is what this section is kind of like that. Kind of like that. I did a video online, and you have to go to the first episode. I kind of give an overview about why I wear this necklace, 333, and the significance of it. So what we're going to do, I don't want to drag this out, so we're going to do this in several parts. I'm going to tell the story, but this is just going to be part one. The next episode, I think since it's in threes, we'll do everything in three. So part one today, next two episodes be two, and then part three. It's it's not that long story, but it's a good story. I'm originally from Tampa, St. Petersburg, Florida. Born and raised there, was there for years, up until I moved into Atlanta. And the 333 is kind of the reason why I ended up in Atlanta. Now, I'm going to tell you how that happened. I had been working a lot of odd end jobs. I'm a musician at heart, a musician. I think I went through like 30 jobs. I could never hold a job. I mean, I ended up doing a job driving, but me and 9-to-5s just never really got along. I guess I'm just an entrepreneur at heart. Usually I could get a job. If I can get to an interview, I can get a job. But for some reason, back in, it would have to be back in 94. No. It would have to be back in 1990, 91. Matter of fact, it was 1991. Back in 1991, I went through a dry spell where I could not find job to save my life. I went to interview after interview, and usually if I get the interview, I would get the job. I just throw the little charismatic charm on them, and they usually give me the job. But I was just striking out, strike, and things were getting my pockets were drying up, and my kid's mom was in my ear, and I was just having a hard time just kind of pulling it together. I saw in the newspaper that there was an opening for a bellman at the St. Petersburg Hilton and Towers. And I decided to apply for that job. Now, I had never done any bellman work, but what the hey. Went to the interview, just like normal. Me and the manager, the bell captain, hit it off. But miraculously, even though I had no experience other than being a waiter at Red Lobster for about 2 weeks, the guy gave me the job. And ladies and gentlemen, I loved being a bellman. I could not believe it because I'm a people's person. So they actually was paying me to meet people. And that was crazy. But that was the gig. So me and bellman was like hand in glove. I was still, if I didn't have so much talent, I still would be doing a bellman thing because it was just easy for me. And I made a lot of money doing it. But anyway, round about, say, about a year or so in, maybe 2 years in, it had to be close to 3 years in because I was there for only 4 years. Yeah, it was 3 years in. I started to wake up every night at 3:33 a.m. I didn't think of nothing at first. But after waking up at 3:33 a.m. for no particular reason, then I started seeing 333 on billboards, car tags. We were valet parkers, so we had to give these little tags off to the guests when they park their car so they can retrieve their car. The tags were coming in at 333. And I started seeing it so much that it actually got my attention. It's kind of like in the movie, I can't think of that movie, but anyway, I started seeing it so much that it just got my attention. So I had kind of got used to seeing the number 333 all the time. And then back in 1991, there really wasn't a lot of internet like we have now, so I could just go Google or research. There was none of that. No such thing as a Google back then. We had Yahoo, I think. I think Yahoo came around in 2000, 2001. At least I got turned on to it by then. So I was wrestling and seeing this thing for years until one day I was watching a documentary on, I'm just a Nova kind of guy. So it was some kind of documentary on PBS. And they were doing a special about the pyramids and all the secrets of the pyramid. And in this one particular episode, I would sit back drinking some lemonade and just listening to the episode. The narrator said there was a secret passage that runs down from the top to the bottom of the pyramid. And that passage, the length of it is, and I said it before he would say it, I said 333. He says it's 333 feet long, or 33 yards long, or whichever the distance was, but it was 333, no figure. But then he said something that got my attention. He said, which coincidentally is Jesus's number. My mind was blown. Oh my goodness. Jesus's number. So I figured out a way to get online, dial up, and I did some research and couldn't find anything under Jesus's number. Now, I looked and I asked and nothing for a couple years, about a year and a half or so. Nothing. For about a year and a half, I'm searching, nothing. Still seeing the threes, still waking up at 3:33 a.m. So much now that my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, started seeing it as well. Till finally, I guess God threw me a bone because he's like, dummy, do a search under God's number. I did a search under God's number and I found out that there were a lot of other people seeing 333 and other numbers as well. And we're going to get into those other numbers on the next part of the SirRodCast Numbers Talk. That's part 1. We'll go into part 2 on the next episode, which will tell you what I did with that information. This brings us to the final segment of the program. Before we go into the next segment of the program, we have a very important matter to handle. For it is time for the joke of the day.
Hear ye, the joke of the day. Hear ye, the joke of the day. It is time for the joke of the day. Hear ye, hear ye. The joke of
Very
the
serious
day.
business. The joke of the day, I have to put my spectacles on. So I want to get this right. Coming from the joke Bible of Joketopia, the joke of the day. What day does a fish hate most? What day does a fish hate most? Friday. Get it? Friday. I know. Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the joke of the day. I better not catch Cat Williams. Said the entertainer, Steve Harvey. Better not be stealing my jokes. Joke of the day. And this brings us to the final segment of the program. Just my thoughts, the recap of the days. Oh, don't cry. Don't cry, baby. I'll be back next week. Baby. Don't cry. Just my thoughts is a recap of today's program. Now, we talked about the dreamers and never giving up. Look, I know it's hard, especially sometimes when you walk along, and especially you extrovert people where you need a crowd to do your thing, or introverts. I'm a mix of both. Most people think I'm an extrovert, but no, I'm really introvert. Like after I do my shows or concerts or whatever we're doing, the Blues Doctors, back to the hotel room, close the door and decompress. Not trying to find the club or the party. And no, I've always been that way. To the dreamers, keep dreaming, keep reaching. Don't give up. No matter, you're going to have to get in your mind. And matter of fact, get timelines out of it. Set goals, not timelines. Goals. Hit your marks and keep pressing. I know you got that dream, but it's the journey. I know you've heard this before and it sounds kind of cheesy, but I'm trying to tell you it is so true. The journey in between is where all the fun stuff, the details, the effort, the experiences, the travels, the people you meet, the venues, and don't forget to take in and enjoy the journey. And keep dreaming. Don't let anybody take that dream from you. You keep dreaming, and it'll happen for you. I'm here to tell you. So, that's what this program is going to be about for my dreamers. You keep dreaming, you keep reaching, and listen, before I close, SirRodCast@gmail.com. Go ahead, hit me up. Show requests, guest requests, or share your dream. Numbers talk. As I said in the very first episode, you guys will dictate the way this program will go. All right, listen, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your attention. But most of all, I want to thank you for listening. You keep dreaming. Now, go out and find something else better to do. Get out there and get in it. I'll see you next week. Peace.